Some of the biggest musical debates I've ever been in with friends over the years has been whether a cover song was better than the original. It seems like anytime a cover song is released of notoriety, our first instinct is to compare and contrast from the original. And people have been covering songs for hundreds of years, evolving from jazz standards to pop reinterpretations, and Elvis built his career on blues and R&B covers like Hound Dog. You ain't nothing but... And the Beatles reimagined Motown hits early on. It wasn't all just original music that they started with. We all know Whitney Houston's cover of I Will Always Love You. Did you know she didn't write that? That's actually a Dolly Parton song. And that's what great covers can do, is they tend to overshadow the original. Nirvana's MTV Unplugged cover of Bowie's The Man Who Sold the World introduced the song to an entire new generation, and that can happen with cover songs too, is these reinterpretations can expose an entire new audience to a great song. So in this video I'm going to give you my personal top 10 cover songs that were better than the original, and I'm going to be playing a lot of these recordings, so I can't monetize this video. If you're interested in learning guitar from me, check out Guitar Super System. There's a link in the description where you can subscribe, take guided paths to learn music theory, tips, tricks, licks, different genre studies, and over 100 hours of awesome video content, all catered to your different learning experiences based on what your goals are as a guitar player. So thank you very much in advance for signing up for Guitar Super System. Now let's get to the best cover songs, better than the original. So if you've never listened to the original Along the Watchtower, you'll find that it's really not anything quite like Hendrix's. That's a testament to the fact that they're two completely different artists, but also the Dylan version more functions like a cryptic poem. It's a cyclical chord progression. Hendrix took that framework and built a fully formed landscape around it. His arrangement is meticulously layered. There's a ton of different production elements that would become inspiration to future producers. Remember, Jimi Hendrix was more than just a guitar player. He was a producer, engineer. He could do it all. And the layering between the clean rhythm parts and the overdriven parts and the reverse delays and the panning and the sort of different frequencies that Hendrix is able to access to complement this song, and the way he delivers the lyrics. Very urgent, you know? Dylan's version is not urgent whatsoever. It also bred an entire new system for guitar players to look at the guitar and really flesh out this triadic approach that Hendrix was famous for. That's an iconic chord progression. You can really embellish it, but it's really just C sharp minor to B to A, back up the whole time. So it's still the Dylan chord progression, but as you can hear, there's just so many nuances to it, and not to mention just the glorious melodic solo, which you don't even need the backing track to hear how glorious it truly is. Anytime I hear All Along the Watchtower by Hendrix, I just feel like I'm in this little story, you know? And I don't get that from the Dylan version, so that's why I think this cover's better than the original. And many agree. Even Bob Dylan said, yeah, that song's no longer mine anymore. Also, what I think dictates a cover sort of taking over as the standard is when you ask someone, have you heard All Along the Watchtower? And they're like, oh yeah, that Hendrix tune? That's sort of the barometer that I use to judge whether a cover should be on this list or not. So let's move along to the next one. It's not going to be such a layup as this first one was, but I hope I don't ruffle your feathers too much. Let me know what you think in the comments, of course. We're going to need to go to drop D for this one. Well, actually, we're going to need to go to drop C. Hold on, I can do that on the computer. We'll just transpose that down 2 steps. Maybe you know where I'm going with this one. Maybe you even agree. It's Holy Diver by Dio, covered better, in my opinion, by Killswitch Engage. Yeah, I just dig the heavier modern sound of this song. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dio's original is a pillar of 80s metal majesty, and it's tight, dramatic. It's just a little small for me. Again, maybe I'm starting to realize the production is what matters to me in a cover. No, that's not true, as you'll see further on in this list. But what I mean is, there's just something that speaks to me, that resonates with me more when the song is delivered in the fashion that Killswitch Engage delivers it, which is heavy and drop C. And Joel or Adam, one of the guitar players from Killswitch, adds this very tasty pinch harmonic, which I think makes this cover ascend. I would say this might be split in the metal community, you're gonna have to tell me, but it keeps the spirit of the original, which is cool, but it definitely adds a little bit of shred era excess. The double-tracked harmonies that come in after that add such richness to an already powerful song. And I don't know, I think this is just a great cover, better than the original. What do you think? I might have lost a couple of you there. Let's move on quickly. Incubus has a song called Megalomaniac, which is not a cover, it's their original song, but it just starts with G. And immediately I know what song that is, and this does the same thing. Life is a Highway by Rascal Flatts, or should I say Tom Cochrane. The guitar just sounds weird to me in the Cochrane intro. The worst part of the original intro is actually the best part of the Rascal Flatts intro. Everything in this version is just kind of taken the Tom Cochrane version and tastied it up. You know, Nashville-ified it, but in the best way. I mean that as a compliment. It just takes everything, all the ideas, and sort of bumps them up a level or two. Sometimes covers can be a huge breakout way for bands to get other notoriety. Obviously Rascal Flatts have awesome songs other than these that are original, but this cover is just perfect. The vocals, just the way it all comes together, and that beautiful, smooth, creamy guitar solo, it's perfectly tasteful. Again, I hate to use that word over and over, but dang, it tastes good, it's delicious. No, that last lick has to be, you gotta hear it, it's so perfect. I should learn it, but I'm just gonna leave that to you. For the next cover, we're gonna take a capo, pop it on the 5th fret, and play this timeless chord progression. Standpoint, Buckley's tone, phrasing, his way he dances around the melody that he's singing with his guitar parts, it's just so Hendrixian, if that's a word. It's very complimentary to the vocal, and also just really monotonous in a good way, like something that you really love to just play. Anytime anyone would hear this, if you picked up a guitar, popped that capo on the 5th fret and played this. I think that would just be satisfying, and it's good to have in your arsenal. So that's a cool aspect of cover songs that transcend the originals, is when they create parts that you just want to learn and you never wanted to learn from the original. Maybe it didn't exist in this case. It's not really a guitar part in the original Leonard Cohen version. Much more gospel-y, church-like song, if you will. So in this case, it's like a stripped down version that wins the day. Sort of going against what I thought my taste was when it comes to cover songs. This is actually a very stripped down version of a much busier original as far as the production is concerned, and yet it's perfect. He uses his finger picking with subtle arpeggiation, and what makes it compelling is his control over the dynamics and the way he fluctuates his voice to match the melody, and when he sings the 4th and the 5th lyric. It's so simple and yet so perfectly executed, and you're just waiting for that home bass. Guitar playing aside, Jeff Buckley could probably just sing this one a cappella and it would still be better than the original. Next up on our list, as you can see, I've grabbed an acoustic here. It's been mentioned already, but we have to go a little bit more in depth on how these three chords could be possibly so divine and yet so painful. I hurt myself today. I can't sing like Johnny Cash. I do have a deep voice though. Maybe I'll practice it. I do live in Nashville. Maybe I won't practice it. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this is actually a Nine Inch Nails song originally. But Johnny Cash, due to his death, I suppose, people just assume that maybe he was the originator, considering he just seems old. When you die, you're history. At least that's what I thought. I never realized that this was a cover until much later on after hearing it. So the Nine Inch Nails version is, well, Trent Reznor. It's very electronic. It's very dark and evil. Johnny Cash version is also dark and evil, but more sad than evil and more hopeless than dark. So it's just a different type of pain and anguish that Johnny Cash taps into. Trent Reznor said himself that this is no longer Nine Inch Nails' song, it's Johnny Cash's song. So I mentioned that that would come up again. Most simple guitar chords ever, and yet one of the most effective songs ever, and I think the cover is the ultimate version of an already awesome song. Moving along to another cover that's better than the original. And we're keeping the acoustic guitar and we're actually going to put a little distortion on this. I mean, you know that without the chords even having to come in. Man Who Sold the World by Nirvana. Kurt Cobain plugged in his acoustic guitar. It seems like the song was written by David Bowie for Kurt Cobain, honestly, the way that it all just feels like a Nirvana song. Like I said, before you had the internet and everything, I just heard the song and assumed it was Nirvana. That's how good of a cover it was. It's just such a national treasure at this point. This is one of my favorite songs. It still never gets old despite how many times I've heard it. I just love everything from the honesty, just the voice of Kurt Cobain, the innovation of not giving an F to freaking use a distortion pedal on an acoustic guitar on MTV Unplugged. It's pretty cool all around, and just a cover that lasts and stays with you after you listen to it. You'll be singing it all day. So sorry about that, because you are going to be singing some of these all day. The next song on our list is Disturbed, covering Simon and Garfunkel, The Sound of Silence. Even though this one has sparse guitar, I know this is a guitar channel, we're getting more broadly into music is when. The Simon and Garfunkel original is very tame and folky and, you know, almost massaging, if you will. Tenement halls. This version by Disturbed is just so masterful in building the song and really giving weight to the lyrics. Again, this reinterpretation, how lyrics can affect someone, can really drastically alter the mood that they convey the music in. And in this case, we have the orchestration of strings, and acoustic guitar very critically comes in, very sparsely but importantly, and David Draymond's vocal performance is just legendary. To the neon god they can't say enough good things about this cover. I actually returned to the live version that they did on Conan O'Brien pretty much every 3 or 4 months. I just go back and watch that. And I think this version resonated with a larger audience because it recontextualized a classic for the modern listener, if you will. And it used a new genre to deliver a timeless song. The melody is the same, the chords are the same. The melody is actually like pinpoint accurate. It's very attention to detail oriented when it comes to this arrangement, and again, a wonderful homage that I think transcends the original. That is a fun riff right there. Slowed down, it sounds like this. This is another stripped down version compared to the original Ray Charles version of I Don't Need No Doctor. Ray Charles' version is firmly rooted in R&B and soul with a strong emphasis on his vocal style and his groove, where John Mayer strips it down to a blues trio in this case. There is a performance with him playing this with John Scofield, which I highly recommend you check out. John Mayer essentially Hendrixifies this. It's weird, Hendrix is a through line for all these cover songs, but he takes all of the guitar-centric nuances that makes John Mayer so cool and great on the guitar, and that becomes the centerpiece, much unlike, you know, the Disturbed performance where everything was exactly like the original. This one departs quite a bit from the original, and the performance comes more about like musical interplay between instruments than just the vocal expression. And it's worth noting, I could have put a lot of different John Mayer covers on here. His cover of Crossroads, for example, he uses that really broken fuzz sound. Again, the centerpiece is the guitar. Bold as Love is another great example, but that is definitely very close to the original. Maybe it's more of like a Stevie Ray Vaughan approach to a Hendrix song, his cover of that one. I don't think it's better than the original. I don't think any of these have been, including that cover of Free Fallin' that he did. That was live. It was kind of a one-off thing. He has performed it live, but he never really recorded that one. So that's sort of a stipulation I'm using on this list, is recordings that were put out, and you can find them on Spotify, that not just live recordings. So what we're gonna do now is move on. I have a couple more for you, and I'm interested to hear what you think about this next one, because I might be a little off my rocker. Okay, just hear me out. Do you recognize this riff? Yeah, that is a cover of Enter Sandman. I did a video fully breaking down this cover by the band The Warning. It's a group of 3 sisters cover this song in a way that I really have never heard anyone do for a Metallica song. Like, you can't go away from Metallica. They've already written the riffs. All you can do is hope to halfway cover them. And technically they are playing the same notes as Metallica. It's just like in a halftime feel. Just awesome. The only thing about this cover and why I can't quite put it above Metallica, there's no guitar solo. And so this has to be an honorable mention on this list. I'm sorry to The Warning, didn't quite crack my list, but honorable mention is high praise. As you know, I'm an esteemed guitar nerd. Even being mentioned in the same sentence as Metallica is an honor, and they have done the best cover of any Metallica song that I've ever heard. So good job by them. I just love it. I'd listen to it maybe more than the original. And with that, we get to the final cover on our list of 10 cover songs better than the original. And I leave that spot blank for you. Let me know in the comments, what is a cover song that transcends the original by greatness, by musicality, by sheer genres flipping, whatever you want to say. What makes this song better and why? I really want to know. Seriously. I'm gonna check those comments. I want some suggestions. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Check out Guitar Super System, link in the description if you're interested in supporting me and learning guitar in the process. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep shredding.